So in 8.5, we're going to regroup whole numbers to subtract. All right, so 2 ninths plus 7 ninths is 9 ninths, but you'd never leave it that way. You'd make 1. 9 ninths minus 7 ninths is 2 ninths. Seems like the same problem backwards. So what is 1 minus 7 ninths? Well, the secret, look at these. You can guess that the answer would be 2 ninths. So what is the procedure here, right? You don't make, what is a better way to write 1? Well, the way we're going to write 1, is to remember that the denominators have to be the same. So we have to make a number that's 1 that has 9 in the denominator. And the only number that does that with 9 in the denominator is 9 ninths. Once you realize that 1 is 9 ninths, then 9 ninths minus 7 ninths is clearly 2 ninths. So let's see with mixed numbers. 2 1/5 plus 6 4/5. 2 plus 6 is 8. 1/5 plus 4/5 is 5/5. 8 5/5. 5/5 is improper. Even when it's the same, it's improper. You have to regroup it. So that's 8 plus 1. You don't have to write that, but that's 9. So 8 5/5 minus 6 4/5, right? We would never write 8 4/5, just like we would never write 9 ninths up there, but this is trying to show you something. So 8 minus 6 is 2. 5/5 minus 4/5 is 1/5. So that is 2 1/5. So what is 9 minus 6 4/5? Once again, look at the previous problems. They're telling you the answer must be 2 1/5. But how? Well, you have to realize that we need to have fifths. We need some fifths there, and we need them to be 1 whole. Again, just like this was 9 ninths, this has to be 5/5. But we need a 1 whole there that equals 9. Well, 1 doesn't equal 9. We need what? We need this, 8 5/5. 8 5/5 equals 9. Once you have that, you get to do the procedure. 8 minus 6 is 2. 5/5 minus 4/5 is 1/5. So this is regrouping to subtract. All right, so if you eat 1 2/5, the brown is what you ate, which is sort of backwards, but if you eat 1 2/5 of a chocolate bar, how much is left? Well, you can see how much is left, right? There were 2 chocolate bars, we ate, we took away 1 2/5. The answer must be 3/5, right? And the reason is this, right? You need to have this over 5. We need a 5/5 there. So what equals 2? 1 5/5. 1 5/5 minus 1 2/5 is 3/5. Now we're going to go over all that more slowly. So 5/8 plus 3/8 is 8/8. So that equals 1. So if you eat 3/4 of a chocolate bar, 3 out of 4, then you eat 1/4. How much did you eat? You ate the whole thing, right? 3/4 plus 1/4 is 4/4 of 1 whole. You ate the whole thing, 1 whole. All right, so there are infinite ways to write 1. So we're going to, if you eat 2/5, how much is left? There was 1 whole bar. We took away 2/5. The answer you can see from the picture is 3/5. But what's the procedure? The procedure is the whole thing was made out of 5 pieces. So it was 5 out of 5. You took away 2 out of the 5, and you had 3/5 left. If you eat 3/7 of a chocolate bar, how much is left? All right, so you ate, of the 1 whole chocolate bar, you ate 3/7. You can see that there's 4/7 left, but what is the procedure? The 1 here, right, the whole chocolate bar, right, this is sort of looking like a wafer bar. So 1 whole is 7/7. Take away 3/7, right? It's 4/7. So when there's 5 pieces, the 1 whole is 5 out of 5. When there's 7 pieces, the 1 whole is 7/7. But the key is these denominators have to be the same for adding and subtracting. So now we're taking away the pictures. So 1 minus 7/8. So the 1 here is 8/8. And 8/8, right? Because of that 8 right there, 8/8 minus 7/8 is 1/8. Now the 1 is 6/6. Because of that, 6/6 minus 1/6 is 5/6. If we use 1/4 of an inch of a 1-inch piece of string, how much is left? So this is 1 minus 1/4. So let's see this on the picture, right? that's 1/4 of an inch I'm taking away. So let's see this. So 1 here would be 4/4 minus 1/4. The answer is 3/4 of an inch. And there, that is 12/16, which simplifies to 3/4. So there's one whole circle there. You take away 1/3, then take away 1/4. Okay? What is left? What is that right there? Okay, now they have different denominators. So what do you think the one whole is this time? It's least common denominator. So the least common denominator of 3 and 4 is 12. You got to get these all over 12. So this one becomes 3/12. This one becomes 4/12, and that one becomes 12/12. Now, 12 minus 4 is 8, and 8 minus 3 is 5. And so what's left here is 5/12. Yes, notice I did order of operations. I did 12 minus 4 first. I had to. To subtract fractions from larger whole numbers, borrow one whole in the form of a fraction. Okay, so now we have 3 bars here, and we ate 1, 2, and a half of one. So this is trying to give you a picture of 3 minus 2 and a half. So the answer must be what's left? Half a bar, right? So let's see the math though, right? So the least common denominator, the denominator we need is 2. We needed to borrow 2 halves. But what with 2 halves equals 3? 2 and 2 halves. We have 2 and then 2 halves. And we ate one of those last halves. And so 2 and 2 halves minus 2 and a half is 1/2. There's half a bar left. If you have 2 bars and you eat one whole one and an extra 3/7, how much is left? Well, you can see the answer is 4/7. But what we're doing here is we need one whole in the form of 7/7. So what with 7/7 equals 2? 1 and 7/7 equals 2. 1 and 7/7 minus 1 and 3/7 is 4/7. All right, so 5 minus 2 ninths. So we need ninths. We need 9 ninths. So we need 4 and 9 ninths. 4 and 9 ninths minus 2 ninths is 4 and 7 ninths. 3 minus 2 and 1/8. So we need eighths. We need 8/8, so 2 and 8/8 makes 3. 2 and 8/8 minus 2 and 1/8 is 0 and 7/8, also known as 7/8. Right, and you can always check your work. Is 7/8 plus 2 and 1/8 back to 3? Yes. Is 4 and 7 ninths plus 2 ninths give you back to 5? Yes, it does. Check. So minus 4 and 3/5, we need fifths here. So we need 8 and 5/5. That equals 9. 8 and 5/5 minus 4 and 3/5 is 4 and 2/5. All right, Karen has to fit a 20 and 3/4 inches wide cabinet in a space that is 31 inches wide. What is the distance from the cabinet from the edge? So it's 31 minus this distance, right? So this, I did this the other day, 20 and 3/4. This is 31. So it's 31 minus 20 and 3/4. So we need something with fourths to subtract. So what will equal 31? 30 and 4/4. 30 minus 20 is 10. 4/4 minus 3/4 is 1/4, and it's a word problem. So that is 10 and 1/4 inches. And again, this picture is not to scale. All right, so just like last time, what if I split the difference? What if I want it right in the middle? How many inches on either side? This is reminding you how to divide, right? 10 and 1/4 divided by 2. You cannot divide a mixed number. 4 times 10 is 40, plus 1 is 41/4. We don't divide, we multiply when we're dealing with fractions. Here, you multiply across. I didn't see any canceling. 41 times 1, 4 times 2 is 8. 40/8 is 5, so 41/8 is 5 and 1/8 inches on either side. So that side would be 5 and 1/8, and that side would be 5 and 1/8. Add those together, you'll get 10 and 1/4 this distance. Finally, we're going to put negatives in this. I think some of you were wondering if we were, right? So we need 1 to be 9/9. So 1 plus negative 2/9, right? 9 plus negative 2 is 7/9. 7 plus negative 3/5. Now we need this to have fifths. So this is 6 and 5/5. All right, so now we're going to do this with negative numbers. So it's 6 plus nothing is 6. Then you keep the 5 and you add the two numerators, 5 and negative 3. Remember, the negative goes with that. And you get 6 and 2/5. Yes, and you can see, hopefully see this, right? 6 and 2/5 plus 3/5 gets you back to 7. All right, 7/9 back, add 2/9 will get you back to 1. Okay, so we did this with integers. Now we're going to do it with some fractions. So what problem is this? Well, remember, it always starts at 0 and goes to the first number. So the first number has to be 5. They all started with 5, so that wasn't helpful. So the question is, it seems to be ending at a half. So the answer better be a half. And so I think we're subtracting 4.5 here. So I think it's this one. What else is subtracting 4.5? This one, right? Subtracting 4.5, same as adding negative 4.5. This would be the same as 5 plus 4.5 would be 9.5. It would be if the arrow went that way. So it is these two. Let me just confirm the answer here, right? So how does this work? I'll show the math on both of these. I got to stop hitting things inadvertently though. All right, so this would be 4.5, and this would be 4 2/2, right? 5 is 4 2/2. 4 2/2 minus 4.5 is 0.5, or just a half. This 5 plus negative 4, you do it the same way, right? Oh, no, you do not, right? Because you get 1. All right, and here is a big problem. When you have a negative 4.5, the 4 is negative and the 1/2 is negative. Both parts are negative. So when you add 5 plus negative 4, you get 1. But this is still negative. Yeah, and we're going to go over this more, I believe. So, but that is equal to 1/2, right? Because both the negative 4 is negative and the 1/2 is negative. You don't write it twice, though, which I think is confusing. But it would be confusing to write it as well. But these both equal 1/2, right? Because we're subtracting 4.5 or adding negative 4.5. All right, so let's practice. So if it's 26 29ths, it's 29 29ths minus 26 29ths is 3 29ths. Here we need fifths. So it's going to be something with 5/5. It will be 6 and 5/5. 6 and 5/5 minus 1/5 is 6 and 4/5. This has got to be with ninths. So what's with 9/9? 3 and 9/9. Minus 3 and 2/9 is 0, and 7/9 is 7/9. Yes, you can skip over writing the 0. I'm just making sure everyone understands. All right, so 5 plus negative 1/8. All right, we have to get the denominators the same. And so it's 4 and 8/8 plus negative 1/8, right? So it's 4 and 8 plus negative 1 over 8. It's 4 and 7/8. Yeah, it's 1/8 lower than 5, right? If you add a negative 1/8, it's 1/8 lower than 5, which is 4 and 7/8. So which ones are represented here? It must start with 5 again because it ends at 5. And now it looks like the answer is 3.5. But we're going, I think, back 1.5. All right, so 5 minus 1.5. All right, seems to be doing that. And it's just like this one. That one is the same. This would be 5 plus 1.5 would make 6.5. All right, and again, so this would be 4 and 2/2 minus 1 and 1/2, which would be, right. So, yes, I'm goofing up here. 3 and 1/2. Yes, the answer was 3 and 1/2. Okay, I'm having a little brain freeze there. And So 5 plus negative 1 is 4, but this is 4 plus negative 1/2. Okay, and so 4 plus negative 1/2 is 3 and 2/2 plus negative 1/2 is 3 and 1/2. All right, it's like the last one like this. These both equal 3 1/2. Right, and you also could see that is you could just change this to subtraction, and then it would be much clearer. Good luck with the homework.